Aloha, everyone. Welcome to Java. This is Wednesday, August 9th, 2023, and we've got our favorite risk aggregate indicator up, showing that it's come down a bit from yesterday, but we are still firmly in risk territory as we're still continuing with the Treasury sales going on. Did have buyers the other day, so kind of stabilized with things, despite what this looks like at the moment. Markets are kind of a little more in the bullish mode recovery for today. There's not an awful lot going on other than the Treasury sale. Mostly the market will be paused and waiting for the inflation data that will be coming out tomorrow as well as Friday. So we'll be watching that 10-year yield as well as the dollar strength, the relative dollar strength, I should say. So let's go through our markets. I saw this and I really wanted to share this. So I thought this is a good depiction of JP Morgan versus our regional banks. And as I said, no actual gnomes were harmed in this picture. Anyway, I hope you all are having a wonderful morning. So we've got some news. The hedge funds are being forced to cover their bearish bets because the stock market is continuing to rise. And this market, as it defies gravity, it is really wrecking short sellers, basically, is what's going on. And as they pre sold stocks and markets expecting for them to go down in price, and they have not, they are now being forced in their losses that they will have to buy back all of these all of these assets that they had pre-sold at higher prices. And this could cause what we call squeeze a short squeeze up to the positive. So we'll be watching this too. I still have an overall kind of bearish tone for the market, but that could really throw things awry. Wanted to revisit because of bringing Country Garden back up into the headlines, and they are the other developer in China that is in large default with Evergrande. And so what they're saying now is that Country Garden could actually be worse than Evergrande. And while the market glanced that off the last time that that was a story, there was an awful lot more strength in the market. So we got to keep an eye on this one just to see that that doesn't blow up. Got another article here talking about in real life what's going on in the United States. These are three larger pharmacy chains. And for several reasons, not to mention the shoplifting that is going on, these three pharmacy chains are closing multiples, hundreds of their physical stores. And the three chains that they're talking about are, if you're familiar with them, are Walgreens, Rite Aid, and CVS Pharmacy. So we'll keep an eye on that. But that's a real indicator of the actual economy and not the market. Got something else I wanted to bring up that seems unrelated, but they had brought up this article about the violent US storms. We've had some very weird weather across the world, actually, but that they are racking up heavy losses for insurers in 2023, mostly like lightning, tornadoes, and hurricanes that have already done tremendous amounts of damage and large numbers. And so I'm expecting insurance companies beginning to pull out of Florida and other states. And they will, they're large along with hedge funds and pensions that buy into the market. So if these insurance companies start going down, it could really have an effect as well. Warren Buffett used to start heavily into insurance. So we've got a couple of stories moving on from that in crypto. So most people have heard already that PayPal has decided to put out their own quote unquote stable coin. And as the article says, there's mixed reactions coming out. So the largest pressing issues from this they're talking about is that this one is centralized. It's a centralized cryptocurrency, and so everybody is worried about privacy and security. And so the main issuing authority, Paxos, has even said that they retain the power to freeze or confiscate the assets of any holder if mandated by government bodies. So for me and many others that hold cryptocurrency, this is a huge issue. Uh, as they say, it raises red flags in the crypto community because most of us, the whole point of having cryptocurrency is that we prefer for decentralized solutions and then being able to have financial autonomy, we can own it and not have these issues. So, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think even possibly that PayPal would join up with Unicoin for their cross payment system? What do you think? What do you see coming? I want to hear from you. If you don't mind, leave it in the comments. And then I have one positive in the crypto space, negative for them, positive for us, in my opinion. WorldCoin, they are continuing to make negative headlines. So as this happens, less people will be likely to scan their eyeballs. They've been halted from use in several countries. So to me, I like that because I think that privacy is so much more important. Any of you that have been with me for a while know how I feel about that. Okay, so we've got a couple of lava updates in the currency wars, resource wars, and today, actually, real wars. So we've got an article headline from CNN who's been talking about how strong our economy is. Well, they admit in this headline it's oil and food prices rising, and so are inflations. So inflation isn't beaten yet. Well, of course, we know that inflation is continuing to rise, but hearing it directly from them to say that oil and food, uh, at least they're admitting part of the real world, this is a continuing problem. Along with that, they had this headline we've been talking about the rices. India banned it, that raised the price. So this is saying the highest price since 2008 and rising threats to the supply. Well, I told you yesterday we were talking about how Thailand is capitalizing on this and they are growing and selling more, which is kind of a smart move if they can invest it properly. So on the real war front, we've got America. They say America's foes are teaming up to push the US military out of the Middle East. And what is going on here is basically they're saying Russia and Iran are working together with Syria to push the US out of the country. But when we were talking about Niger, the US put in a drone base against the wishes of that country in order to fight ISIS and terrorist attacks. So we're seeing some pushback, and I think this could grow. We'll watch this, of course, because the Ukraine war has a lot more aspects to it. But this could be positive for defense sectors, uh, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin. Of course, they've got to keep that war machine going because that is one thing that could bring them typically out of this, either the deflation or the economic troubles that they're facing because they can't fix it in the real problem. And if they can't get inflation to kind of restructure in a stealth mode, they're not going to raise taxes and cut Social Security. If they cannot let inflation run and fix these for them, which is a form of theft, then they will revert to war. All wars are bankers' wars. Okay, last thing I wanted to bring up, negative, positive, is a solar flare. This is a picture of the sun, which I thought was beautiful. So, solar flare just knocked out radio access across the US and more on the way. So, yes, it's causing issues and navigational systems, other things going on. But I did like that picture. I did feature one of the moon not long ago. So, I thought I would kind of balance that out. And if you've got Faraday cloth, you might want to put that to use for some of your electronics. If you don't know what that is, maybe I'll talk about it in another episode. Let me know in the comments what you think, please. Thank you all for being here. And until the next time that I see you, stay free.